Introducing a framework for sustainable living. Now listen to this. This particular episode is to formally introduce 𝘍𝘳𝘢𝘍𝘬𝘐 as the unifying framework that integrates insight, structure, and sustainability in healthy living and living well. Welcome to the Hope Ignites Healing podcast with your host, Dr. Lillian Kalisa, a space where we speak everything holistic health and healing. This is a space for women especially who are seeking to find healing, that is, from a place of inner completeness, making small, simple, and yet tangible steps towards full health and therefore a lifestyle of healing. In this space, we believe in the 1948 definition of health, that health is a state of complete emotional, physical, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And through my personal story and all the medical knowledge gathered through the years, this is now the mantra with which I live my life and teach others to do the same. Now let's redefine health together, shall we? Welcome to Season 4, The Rebirth. Hello, my friend, my listener, my lovely audience. Thank you so much for being patient until everything in this part of the world, Uganda, settled so that we return and do what we love to do, that is to serve you. There's been a lot of interruptions in the podcast, in the broadcast. As you know, we fully rely on the internet, but we're grateful that we're coming back better, we're coming back more determined and more ready to serve you, my listeners. Thank you for holding on until now as we talk about something that's so exciting for the new year. Now, over the past episodes, we've explored some important truths here together. Oh, by the way, the feedback from the last episode, from the New Year's episode that started us on a tangent, thank you. I saw all the comments, the questions, and we're going deeper into understanding the framework, integrating clinical medicine, lifestyle, wellness. Where does it all meet? Now, over the past episodes, we've explored many important truths together on here. We've talked about isolation and why women heal better together. That was our focus in the last one. We've talked about insight and why understanding alone is not enough to create lasting change. There should be externalized processing of the situations that are happening in your life. Then neurointegration, whereby your nervous system is able to comprehend what is going on, you as a person, and being able to live in the circumstances around you, not about coping, but finding healing. And in the long run, we talked about alignment. We talked about that regulation that gives us sustainable healing. And that is where we are up till now. And I remember mentioning that that whole process gives a biological regulation, and that everything that's happening through that integration is where we come from to start programs, community programs, or programs for women in the Holistic Health Hub that support women to heal together. That is the science of where it all comes from. So with that background, today, I want to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. And as usual, allow me to start at story time. Now, lately, here is one of the most intriguing fascinations that I've found while in clinical practice. Patients are coming in more frequently with symptoms like generalized tiredness or malaise, bone or joint pains, sometimes muscle twitches and cramps, headaches that are unexplained, and these are with no clear biological pathology for which you can paint a picture or point a finger to. I'm talking about no exact disease condition, like you would say diabetes or thyroid disease, to mention but a few. Those are the things that I'm seeing in my long duration of clinical practice. And I'll tell you that these symptoms I mentioned, the generalized tiredness and malaise, bone pains, cramps, headaches, are being associated, believe it or not, with low vitamin D status. And it's not just individualized, it's actually widespread in our community. Now, here in Uganda where we are, you might expect that in a place like this, with an abundance of sunshine throughout the year, vitamin D deficiency would never even occur. In fact, most of the time, a patient is shocked to mention to them that they are vitamin D deficient. How? With all this sunshine? But I'll tell you, research shows the opposite. I've looked at some of the ones that I could report here to make it simple. One large review of vitamin D status across African populations found that low vitamin D levels are widespread, with estimated figures showing a substantial proportion of people living deficient or insufficient of vitamin D here in Africa. In fact, in this particular review, the figures were as these. About 34% of Africans had vitamin D levels below a commonly acceptable threshold, and up to 18% had levels that are severely deficient, less than 30. Believe it or not. Even more striking, in fact, I'll bring it home to us here in Uganda. A study done in Ugandan pregnant women reported that over 70%, that's almost 3/4, had vitamin D insufficiency, and about 40% had actual deficiency, which was higher than many global averages. And can I tell you, vitamin D is so key in the reproductive system. The ovaries need vitamin D. The brain that makes the hormones that hold the pregnancy need vitamin D. The uterus, every muscle you can imagine, the uterus is a muscle, needs vitamin D. And we are insufficient and deficient. Can you imagine what is going on in the reproductive system? Could this explain many of the issues and challenges that we are having in reproductive health? Now, these findings correct a common assumption that deficiency is only a problem in northern climates that are colder than us. I'm here to tell you, instead, these results show that lifestyle, sun exposure habits, clothing, time indoors, and nutritional patterns influence vitamin D status strongly, even here where we are very close or along the equator. Now, this helps us to explain what you're seeing, what you and I are seeing in the clinics, what you are presenting with to your clinician, the patterns that are coming. Next time you go to do a medical with your clinician, check on your vitamin D, believe it or not. Now, even in Uganda, where sunlight is abundant, many people don't actually make enough vitamin D. You need the sunshine to complete the cascade of making vitamin D. Now, this is not because individuals are doing it wrong. It's because of structural factors, time spent indoors, habits we are assuming, clothing patterns, nutrition, lifestyle forces that influence health at scale, to mention but a few. Now, this one. What makes this even more striking is that this pattern is not just something we see in community settings or clinical practice. It has shaped some of the most influential work in lifestyle medicine globally. One of my mentors in lifestyle medicine, my virtual mentors, Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, often shares that his own shift into this work was catalyzed by something deeply personal. At the time, he was already a highly trained specialist physician, practicing within conventional medical systems with a strong clinical focus. Yet his young son developed seizures and neurological compromise. He shared this story quite a lot, even in his TED Talk. It is definitely a frightening critical condition for any parent, but even more so for a physician. Now, when they investigated the child father, one of the contributing factors identified was severe vitamin D deficiency, something entirely preventable. And yes, I mentioned it affects the nervous system, your brain. Now, here was a specialist doctor caring for complex patients daily, yet within his own home, a foundational determinant of health had quietly gone unnoticed. And he has shared this on his podcast over and over again. You can go ahead and listen to his story and his guidance in lifestyle medicine. Now, that experience became a turning point. It expanded the lens through which he viewed illness, from treating disease alone to understanding lifestyle, environment, nutrition, and structural determinants of health. And that is exactly what we are about in the Holistic Health Hub. And this is why stories like these matter, because when patterns repeat themselves, whether in clinics, communities, or even within our own homes, these patterns remind us of something essential. What we are dealing with is not just a personal struggle, it is structural. And can I tell you, structural problems require frameworks, not just encouragement and motivation. And at this point is when we ask why frameworks really matter in health. I'll tell you that in medicine, we rarely treat complex conditions without a framework. I'll give an example to common diseases we have. For example, we don't manage diabetes with inspiration alone, with motivation or encouraging you to live a certain way. Neither do we treat things like hypertension that is common to us with insight alone and telling you things that you need to do. No. In disease processes, we use structural models that help us to assess an individual, hence doing a physical assessment, investigations, coming up to a conclusion on what is going on in the person's body. Then we intervene with management. We review the management protocols that we have set up, and all this moving along with sustainable change that happens over time. So we give an immediate intervention, and in the background, there's a sustainable change that has to happen to reduce the progression of the disease process and even completely reverse it. Yes, that is possible. And yet, when it comes to wellness, stress, and emotional health, many people are left to piece things together on their own without including a framework approach, without including protocols. And my question is, why is that? We're giving quick fixes to lifestyle or long-time errors that have happened in the way we live life. They are given information, but no structure. They're given advice, but no system. We're given awareness, but no continuity and follow-up. That's why a framework should not replace personal wisdom. It holds everything together, personal wisdom and intervention that is knowledge-based. And here right now is where I introduce the VitalWise framework. Now, the VitalWise framework has emerged from the many years of clinical practice that I've had the privilege to go through, my public health work, and just listening deeply to patients and especially women navigating real complex lives. It's not a quick fix. It's not a rigid formula. It is not about perfection. It is not even about learning something entirely new. No. It has been going on in all my work, in all my lessons, in all that we have shared in this podcast, in all the frameworks that I've shared. This framework is just reorganizing and neatly holding together what we already know about health and healthy living, that key framework for lasting change. And I'm here to tell you, how do we even get to VitalWise? VitalWise is a physician-led model for whole person health and sustainable well-being. This framework exists to answer one core question. I'm usually one for the why. I usually say, why is the compass with which we do whatever we do? This is my why to coming up with VitalWise. This is the question: what does it take to live well? Not just briefly, but over time. Allow me to explain the philosophy with which I think VitalWise is the next solution to health and healthy living long term. Now, at the heart of 𝘍𝘬𝘊𝘪𝘯𝘊𝘐 is built that simple understanding that health is not created in moments. And I always say it's not a snapshot moment. Health is a lifestyle. And if you remember, I've always said health is your mind, your body, and everything around you. That cannot be fixed in just a snapshot. I believe that health is created in patterns, the patterns we make with our brains, the patterns we make with our bodies, the patterns we make with the things around us. And patterns are shaped by things like these: how we process stress in our lives, how we align to our emotional well-being, how we understand our bodies, how we live day to day, the practices we're in, how we relate to others and the things around us, and how we sustain change across the different seasons of life, yet remain healthy as the seasons are changing. Do you hear me actually describing the definition of health, the standard with which I live my life and teach others to do the same? Now listen to this analogy that got me to 𝘍𝘬𝘊𝘪𝘯𝘢. In clinical medicine, we never make decisions without first taking a patient's vitals. That is, when you go to your clinician, your vitals will be taken: your blood pressure, your pulse or heart rate, your temperature, your weight, and so on and so forth. These tell us the immediate state of the body right there and then. Just your blood, your heart rate, or your oxygen saturation will tell your clinician something is going on in your body. Now, 𝘍𝘬𝘊𝘪𝘯𝘢 extends this same principle into sustainable living, into lifestyle medicine. It helps us take the vitals of a person's life, not just their physiology. Just as we take physiological vitals that I've mentioned, the blood pressure, the heart rate, oxygen saturation, temperature, as we take those vitals to understand the state of the body, 𝘍𝘬𝘊𝘪𝘯𝘢 helps us take whole life vitals to understand the state of sustainable health. So clinical vitals will ask you, what is happening in the body right now? 𝘍𝘬𝘊𝘪𝘯𝘢 will ask, what is happening in the life that sustains this body over time? Now, I'd like to end this podcast here. When we return, I'd like us to ask or answer this question together. If we were to take the vitals of sustainable health, what would we measure? And to make it more personal, here is my question to you. What is happening in your life right now that sustains your body over time? Can you name it? Whatever practice you're doing now, what is that thing that you're doing that you're sure will sustain you for the next 2, 5, 10 years from now? It's always an honor to serve you. I look forward to coming back and let us break down 𝘍𝘬𝘊𝘪𝘯𝘢 as you understand the philosophy with which I am serving, with which I come up with a Holistic Health Hub and all the programs entailed in holistic health, wellness, and living well. Your host, Dr. Lillian Kalisa, always privileged to serve you, to inspire hope through health, and above all, to add the glow to medicine. I'll catch you on the next one. You take care of yourself. Bye-bye.